those Sundays is, following them and stuff like that. So it's, I enjoy it. I love it, even though it brings me a lot of sadness sometimes.
Well, yeah, I think the sadness is there, man. Yeah, what's your earliest memory of being a Vikings fan?
Oh man. Put me on the spot here. I mean, my biggest memory, I guess, being a Vikings fan is always back in Springfield. We moved here to Arizona now a few years ago, but back in Springfield, coming back from church, I remember I was maybe, 13, 14, and just in church thinking, okay, I can't wait till this is over, so I go home and back and watch the Vikings game. Which maybe I shouldn't have been thinking like that, but that was going through my head. And but my biggest core memory, I think, was probably, and what brought the whole family together was probably that that 2017 season, which was about 5 years ago now. So I would have been right around that 15, 14 range. And then like the Minneapolis Miracle, that whole season was just kind of crazy. And just the family gathering around during that divisional game, which was pretty nuts. I had tears of sadness and tears of joy in that same night. And that kind of brought us all together, that game there. But main the memories is just after church Sundays, the fall air, the smell in the air. It always smelled like football season, and I was always excited.
So a lot of the time, how we your uncles, we always played football like right next to whatever vacant lot was next to your grandparents' house. And
with the big stone pillar, right?
Yeah, we use that as a backstop for softball, but we did, and we when we played over in the next door neighbor's yard too, because one of our friends would live there. One of the guys that me and Craig graduated with was right there too. So yeah, there was plenty of days where we're in the snow up to our knees and we're still playing. That's the way we played. Is it like that for you growing up in Springfield?
Oh yeah. Craig, his son Connor. So me and Connor, every holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever it was, we'd always be doing something. And Connor would always be there going balls to the walls, hardcore. And it was I loved it though. I loved it. And we even used that same spot. Even like the 4th of July, go play like a wiffle ball game over there. We use that same backstop as like a catcher, and then throwing the football around. But yeah, holidays were a big part of just throwing the football around. I didn't play football in high school at all. But I'm probably the biggest football fan in my family. So that's kind of a coincidence. Maybe because I don't really experience the violent part of it. Maybe I'm just liking just watching it.
Yeah, I think Chris did a few years of football. I forget how. I don't know if he play a senior, but I know and me and Craig played till we were seniors. So yeah, we had some ups and downs. We see the state championship to having a 3-win season. So we've seen it all when it came to Bonham High School. But let me while we're waiting for people to join, because it does take a while. Hey, thanks Purple Pocket Podcast. That's wrap my old co-host here, Skull Man. Thanks for joining. But let's take a little trip down a little memory lane here. So thanks to Facebook. How does this add to stream? There we go. Here we go. This is the day I met you.
Oh my God.
This is the day I met you. I found this on your dad's Facebook. I am sitting right next to you. So did your parents still invent, or does your family still invent made up card games to swindle out unexpected friends of theirs? Do they still do that, where I have to walk away $25 less in my pocket?
Oh man, you must be talking about Schwick.
Schwick, yes, that is the word.
The famous Schwick that I still don't fully know how to play. But oh man, I remember that day in vivid parts. I don't know how old I was, or if you got the date on this.
Well, let's skip ahead to this is what you looked like that day.
There we go. Yep. Man, I was young.
Yeah, I don't know, or even 9. You were a small kid, man. You weren't too tall, so I don't know how. Neither was your cousin. So
Yeah.
was he a year older than you, or are you the same age? I forget.
No, I'm about 8 months. I'm about a year older than him.
You're older than him.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, this was me with your uncles and your grandma.
Oh, that is awesome.
Zoa, if you're listening, or if you do listen to this, thank you. You're wonderful. And your grandpa was a little bit of a mentor of mine. He did a solid for me back in the day, and I coached your dad baseball. Believe it or not, that was fun. He was a headache. This is you hooping it up, winning trophies left and right, and you're 8 months older than him.
Yep.
But both of you guys went on to be pretty prominent athletes. You super golfer, and he is playing college basketball right now. So you guys,
shout out to Connor. He's over at Northern in Aberdeen, South Dakota.
Probably a more solid fit for him. This is you hooping up, probably the shortest point guard in South Dakota at the time. And this is your dad hooping it up. This must have been a Thanksgiving game or something.
These are great, Dave. Wow.
Well, your dad doesn't have a whole lot of pictures on Facebook, but this is what I found. But this is you signing your letter of intent to go play college golf, but COVID hit. Yeah, what did you end up doing instead of that? Because apparently you can't golf in wide open area with nobody around and be safe from COVID. So apparently you can't do that, and your season was kaput.
Yeah. So luckily enough, we were actually able to get our season in before the COVID hit.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. So how it kind of went down is, moving here. It was my junior summer. We moved to Prescott, Arizona. And that's when I started playing. I was heavily into golf in South Dakota. But when we moved down here, I really wanted to get a golf scholarship. That was my goal, dream, is to try to prove myself in Arizona, because I knew it's a southern state. There's going to be a lot of good sticks down here. So wanted to make it happen. So practice hard anyways. Ended up breaking the Prescott high school record for 9 and 18. And
of course you did.
Went on to get a scholarship here at Ottawa University down here in Surprise. It's about probably 25, 30 minutes from where I'm at right now. One of the powerhouses in the NAIA for golf schools. And then COVID hit. I think my signing was probably in the winter time, because COVID hit about March.
Yeah, it was. That's when people started closing. It was March Madness. People were starting closing down.
My signing might have been around January, February, but COVID hit, and I totally shifted gears. Just really trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and being locked up in the house, cooped up, kind of got my brain swirling a little bit. So got into wholesaling real estate. Thought that going to school for 4 years might be a little expensive, so maybe wanted to try to maximize my time. So I decided to decommit and go full time into the wholesaling thing. So I've been doing that for the past 2 years.
Well, and I'm waiting to see you back on the interwebs and see more videos coming out about that, because honestly, that's really intriguing. And you were doing good, man. It's harder as hell to get 1,000 views on a video, and you were doing that with only 4 videos. So you gotta put more shit out, man. I gotta see that.
I know. That was the thing. It was I like making videos, but it felt like I was a little bit too consumed in that. I wasn't really focusing on the business as much.
There you go. You got your dad's head, I guess, probably.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. Don't worry. I still plan on maybe in the coming years to maybe get that going again. But right now, kind of full bore on.
That's awesome. And how old were you? 18 years old or 19 when you sold how big a house? What was it?
Yeah, so I started when I was about 18. Closed my first 2 deals. Found the family a cabin up in Prescott, which is super cool. Just sourcing through cold calling. And it's been great. No, it's been awesome. It's pretty crazy. It's such a blessing. What wholesaling and everything can do. But it's just a lot of calling each day. And closed about 10 to 12 deals. Partnered with my first fix and flip with Dad here. And then he actually is just went into escrow on another flip that I found calling. So it's been great. It's been good for the family too. So
awesome. Here I am mesmerized at 49 years old. Never done that once in my life. That's awesome, man. That's why I call you the prodigy. Here's a picture of Brock Tucker. What do you think of this guy? I hope he sees this. What do you think of Brock Tucker?
I love Brock. I love Brock. I haven't texted him yet this season about the Chiefs.
Oh gosh,
he's got to be sweating a little bit.
He's always a fan of somebody else. He's a fan of he was a fan of the Mariners. He's crazy dude. And then this guy.
I'm not sure he became a Chiefs fan. But,
here's a Vikings fan, Marshall Ingram.
Marshall.
Yeah, I taught this kid how to hit.
Yeah. No,
he thanks me every time I went back to Springfield. But hey, he's a big Viking fan. You ever see him?
Yeah, I was gonna say these pictures make me miss back home in Springfield. All these guys.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, I know.
Best friends, and I love hanging out with them too.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's talk about what we came for. And I know some of these guys have no idea that I was gonna do a way back machine of my own. They have no idea who any of you guys are, except hopefully some Springfield people tune in and watch this. But
they're gonna have to now.
What's that?
They're going to have to now after the pictures you just laid out.
Yeah. Well, and I also forgot to start it right away. So about the first 3 minutes, this video didn't air. So, but hey, we got all the good stuff. I'm still getting used to this live thing. But hey, we got, so this is what started it all. Daniel Jones, only QB to throw for 300 yards, 2 scores, and a run for 70 yards in a playoff game. And of course, it was against the Vikings because their defense was absolute crap. And I did a poll here. This is what the Vikings thought of getting rid of Donatello. Viking fans, fire at 91%, second chance 9%. I don't know who those 9% were. They must have not been watching. I was thinking it might have been Packers fans trying to hope that, they were probably voted on it. But 811 people was my biggest poll I ever had on Twitter.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah. So what were your thoughts of this going into the season? Where you had any expectations? What were you thinking before the season started?
Yeah, so before the season, I was super pumped. Still am, but I was very excited, super pumped for O'Connell and all the new changes and everything. I wasn't really thinking too much before the season of the defense. We signs at Arias, and I was excited about that. I knew we had our key guys. Daniil's coming back. So I was excited about it, but probably after that second Lions game, when we just couldn't win, our offense couldn't do enough to win. And that after that game, that was, it just it was a little bit scary because I knew that we probably couldn't go too far if our defense was playing like this. So, I was excited for the season, and it was an awesome season. It's just a little, unfortunate the way it ended,
Yeah, when your defense gives up 400 yards 10 times in the season and then an 11th time in the playoffs, it wasn't going too far. We were hoping that, KOC would have made the decision, I want to say around the Dallas game, to change it over to Mike Pettine, who is the Vikings assistant head coach and who was a defensive coordinator many times and a head coach, and actually gave KOC his first coaching job at Cleveland. So there's some history there, and he got his interview. But yeah, we were hoping that make the move. The season's not over. Do something. Get another body in there. I don't know what the thought process was. You don't want to. I guess you don't want to fire somebody. Maybe other coaches might think you got a short trigger. Yeah. You want to let a guy play out the season. The players liked him, Donatello. Do you have any thoughts about Mike Pettine getting the job?
Yeah, so to Donatello for a sec, I think he seems like a pretty good guy. All the defensive guys thought he was pretty. I think he's probably a pretty good guy. I think it maybe just be a little old, or some things like that. But with Pettine, I really don't find that too exciting. Thinking about hiring him just because he's been in the building all season. So if
he was part of it.
Yeah, so he was part of it. So if he saw something that he didn't like, I was assuming that he probably would try to change it. But he didn't. So I don't know.
Yeah,
It's not too exciting to try to bring him in because I just feel like maybe he could have changed something during, when Donatel was
he
running
does
it.
got some highlights in his career. Like he was the New York Jets defensive coordinator 09 and 12, and they were good. They were really good defenses. And then he got a Buffalo job, and they were stellar. They had like a defense coordinator for the Buffalo, and they were like 4th. And then he went and became the head coach at Cleveland. And his last year at Cleveland, their defense was like 30th, but a couple of okay years. But then the Packers, he yards wise, he hovered around the middle. But I think 2019 is best year. They were like 9th in points given up and 14th. That was probably his best year. So he maybe lost his mojo, maybe lost with the times. He is responsible for probably for bringing Zadarius Smith in, because when he went to the Packers, he really utilized them and, blossomed as a pass rusher. So there's some good things about that. Then we got Sean Desai, who Pettine and Sean Desai. Pettine was a defense doing the same job he does now with us. He was doing it with Chicago, and Desai was the defensive coordinator in 2021 for the Bears. Pretty average defense, but they had really nothing to work with except for a couple of pass rushers. And then he goes to the Seahawks. I never heard of associate head coach. That's kind of a weird name. I mean, I've heard assistant head coach from associate. I guess they got they got to throw out titles. Maybe it comes with a pay boost.
Yeah.
I wish someone would call me an associate head coach. But anyways, the Seahawks turned it around this year. So there is some intrigue there for me. He's a younger guy. He hasn't seen a whole lot. He hasn't been around from job to job. But hey, he kind of intrigues me. Did you look into him at all, or?
Yeah, so I'm not too familiar with. You said Desai. Is that how you say it? Desai?
Yeah, Sean. I guess I don't know. Decide to say. I haven't heard it said verbally yet.
I'm not too familiar with him. I do know that the Seahawks had a very surprising year, so that's something to note. I do know that he's a younger guy, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's not that old, and he hasn't had a whole lot of jobs. I thought he got interviewed last year. So he got interviewed. He was one of the people interviewed for the D coordinator job last year. And we're interview him again. So we are definitely considering him because this is the second time he's interviewed. This guy, however, I do not want. He skipped around job to job to job to job to job. I mean, this guy's had more jobs. I don't know. He's 20. He has had 20 jobs. I don't know. Ryan Nielsen, and I'm not even going to talk about him, but let's talk about the big guy, Brian Flores.
What's up with Nielsen? Please inform me why you don't like him.
I don't know. He job to job to job. He's never stuck. He's been
jumping.
Yeah, he's like every year he's had a different job, and now he's co-defensive coordinator. And I don't want anything with because we've experienced what co-defensive coordinators was like last year, if you remember, or the year before, 2021. I don't know. I don't want to look at a guy that's a retread everywhere he goes. You could say that about a Pettine, but he's moved around by promotion. Yeah. And taking and didn't just he stayed 3 years with the Packers. He was 3 years with Cleveland. I mean, he was 3 years with the Jets, but this guy, Ryan Nielsen, is like every year is a different team. Yeah. I think he's really low on our options. So that's why I was going to jump him and go to this guy, Brian Flores, who everybody likes. And I didn't know really this until last night, that he actually started doing even though he wasn't given the defensive coordinator role title, but he called plays for the Patriots under Belichick, and that got him the job in Miami. So he did have, even though he didn't have the title, he was doing the defensive play calling as the defensive linebackers coach. So, and Belichick is a defensive guy. You're way before you're born. 88, he was hauled off the field as the defensive coordinator for the Giants when they beat the Buffalo Bills. So, so there's history there. And then last year he learned from Tomlinson. Mike Tomlin, who was our D coordinator back in 2008 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's, been the head coach for the Steelers and never had a losing season. So he's got a lot of guys he's learned from. His 3 years in Miami, though, were not stellar. His defenses were never ranked above 24, probably. And and then he, got fired, but a lot of bad shit was happening in Miami. But what do you think? But people liked the thing about him. People is his defenses blitzed a lot. Like he was an attacking style defense. He was I think the last year with Miami, they blitzed 33% of the time. So this would be a welcome change, I think, from our last guy. Although his track record of success as a guy running the defense is pretty average at best, I think. But he's a big name, and people like the attacking defense he's bringing.
Yeah, no, and I think that's big. I mean, as every Viking fans know, seeing this past season, there wasn't much attacking going on. So maybe bringing someone in like Brian could be big. Back to the Miami thing, though, when led up to him getting fired, I don't really think he had much to work with over there. In that span of those few years, I don't know what their combined record was in those 3 years, but I think he tried to make the most out of it. And he's my favorite candidate. Young guy, maybe can make something out of this defense. I just want to be intimidating. I want to be able to attack. I don't think anybody was scared of our defense this past year. So maybe send some blitzes, just make someone intimidated, or, make them fear us a little bit on the defensive side.
I mean, I think that's why people are leaning towards him. I do. I think, and I wouldn't cry if we got him. I like that all the baggage that was coming with him was not even really talked about this last off season. So I think it's moved past it. He hasn't talked about it. That doesn't bother me at all. What went on in Miami. So I just think, he's probably high on everybody's list right now. Nobody's wowing me, and I want someone to wow me, and it hasn't happened yet.
Well, what's your thoughts on? I mean, who are some of your top guys that maybe you'd want us to go pursue?
That's the thing. I mean, I don't see. There's not a lot of names out there that were wowing me. I think I did a video with 15 choices, and I'm like, gosh, it's not a good year. It's not a good year. So it's almost like you got to take someone that wasn't a D coordinator before. Yep. Who you think a lot of. And we're going to interview Raheem Morris. And I'm like, okay, he took over so the Rams are number one in defense in 2020. He took over as D coordinator. They were then ranked 15th. They won the Super Bowl. And then last year, second year as D coordinator, they won 4 games. I don't know how much it was his, and I didn't pay attention to him because at the break, they were out of it. Halfway point they were out of it. So I don't know if Raheem Morris, although again, players love him. He is in his 50s though, but he's not the young guy. Would I cry if he got hired on? Probably not. Would I think our defenses be in the middle or mediocre and never elite? I'm kind of thinking that.
Yeah.
I don't know. No one's wowing me. Is there anybody out there that you've seen or?
No, I mean something about the
Flores is
and being able to blitz. And I mean, first off, it's going to have to change with some of our personnel. That'll be the big thing, deciding on how we play this coming year. But Flores, I mean, the Raheem Morris, I don't see him. Is he for sure leaving LA or?
No, I don't even know if that's a thing, but I think we're asked to interview, and I think that's going to happen.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool. I mean, he was about to be our head coach. I mean, right? I mean, as far as some of those interviews last season.
So we went out to LA during the playoffs and interviewed both him and KOC, I think back-to-back days. Yep. And he was high on our list to be a head coach.
Yeah.
So
no, he'd be good. He'd be a good hire. Him and Flores are probably my top. I don't think probably Morris would. leave, maybe. I don't think I think the Rams might be in a little bit of a cap situation. They might have to figure some things out. So maybe it'd be intriguing for him. Who knows?
Well, and that's the thing is he was allowing everybody, the head coach was allowing everybody to interview somewhere else if they wanted to, because you usually can't do it unless it's a move up. So to head coach.
Okay.
But the main reason I wanted to bring you on, other than to reminisce, is and talk about D coordinators, is this is my first stab at talking about our free agents. I'm not. We could go all night and talk also about, the guys that we should, cut, restructure, all that crap. But I haven't talked about free agents yet. So you're gonna help me out here. And I'm gonna start off like low priority probably, or guys that aren't breaking the bank to the one that will. And I got Olabisi Johnson. Unfortunately, this guy keeps getting hurt, and he probably is gonna get a shot. Do you think the Vikings say, "Hey, come to camp and try to make the team," kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, depth on, obviously wouldn't hurt, but I don't know, Dave. I mean, I feel like he's had his time to kind of show what he's made of, and he like I said, he kind of keeps getting hurt. I don't know, how old is he now? How old will he be coming up?
I want to say he's probably 25, 26, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I have it here. Duh. I told you I had it here. Where'd it go? Let me go free agents. Olabisi Johnson, he'll turn 26.
26. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's. I wouldn't make him a for depth.
Well, he did start over Justin Jefferson for 2 games. I mean, that was stupid.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for that reminder. Yeah, that was stupid. That's not only.
Those two of the worst games I've ever seen us play. I think I've seen worse games, but it was pretty bad. I think we started out that season 1-5. It was 2020, and I think BC Johnson started out as our number 2 receiver, and Justin Jefferson wasn't seeing the field. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, Justin Jefferson.
So yeah,
for him, it would probably be just for depth. I mean, if we got no one better,
no guaranteed money. Come to camp.
Yeah, I mean, he's not crazy fast. He's not huge guy. I don't think he'd be too. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't keep him around.
At best, he's probably the 90-man roster type thing, and try to make camp.
Yeah.
Chris Boyd, free agent, almost made the Pro Bowl as a special teamer. Yeah. Got to see the field against the Bears. Played terrible. Corner. Yeah. What do you think about bringing him back just for special teams?
I think for sure. I like Chris a lot. He kind of brings the juice on special teams. I think we should bring him back special teams. He had a really good year.
He saved 2 muff punts. I remember that.
Yeah.
Or 2 fumbles on punts.
Yeah, and those were big momentum type things in the game. And even just his tackling and forcing fumbles. He's been awesome on special teams. I would love to have him back. As far as him playing corner, probably not. He's more kind of a running gun guy. Just send him down the field out of a cannon, and he'll do the rest. But for special teams, yeah, for sure.
With all the injuries we had, I'm on cornerback. I am flabbergasted that we didn't have to use him this year at cornerback, except for the last game where it was like we're fortunate, but D-Cord being on special teams is probably his thing. This guy shocked everybody, but it's not so shocking when you think about it. Naturally, he's a tackle, and we were trying to force a square peg in a round hole, put him at guard and left tackle, and he plays right tackle, and he played it fairly well. Did he impress you enough to bring him back?
I think so. His depth, that backup, stepping in for those injuries, I think he made the most out of it. I mean, he wasn't bad. He kind of.
Yeah, I thought he played actually pretty good the last 3 games. Well, he came in and then he started the last 2 games of the season. He actually looked pretty good.
Yeah, no, he was solid. I think, yeah, I mean, I think we should bring him back. He's, I don't think he will start, but he will.
Oh
He'll
yeah.
be, he'll be a solid backup guy for sure.
Well, and when you consider that Brian O'Neill is actually going to be recovering from Achilles tear, I
Yeah,
don't, yeah, I don't know how people, you cut, and it wasn't a complete tear, right? So I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing, or what's his recovery time? Is he even going to play this coming year?
yeah,
So we got to have some sort of.
yeah. Now that you say that, I almost forgot about that. Yeah, that was unfortunate. Then I think for sure
Yeah.
to provide some depth. And then with what he did when he got out there, it shows that he can do his job. So
Yeah,
I
only
think he's
Udo might be a priority to bring back just for that
yeah,
reason, and
yep. No, I
because
think you're
you
right.
go to the other free agents and you don't know them, and who knows, maybe you got to pay a little more. Yeah,
Yep.
I think we're on the same page there. Ben Ellison, he got hurt, got dealed for the year, and I don't know what it's with us as tight ends, but hey, at least we found T.J. Hawkinson. But Ben Ellison was hurt. Is he a guy? Be one of those guys? Hey, we'll look at you. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's one of them. We'll catch you later type.
If you're still around, we need somebody in
Yeah,
late, right before the camp starts, kind of
yeah.
thing.
He's the tight end to maybe go get the other tight end some like coffees in the locker room. Send him out on a little trip.
Yeah, I think he had a catch this year. But let's move on to Blake Brandel, who I think we have the situation where we're not really doing swing tackles anymore. We're doing backups because we kept 9 guys on the roster.
Yep.
And then everybody had backup, and Blake Brandel was our left tackle backup. And at times he did all right. We did have to give him help, and he needed it. He got hurt. Do we look elsewhere? And we do have a Vidarian Low coming up that who knows, maybe makes strides next year. But Blake
Yeah.
Brandel, what do you think about him?
Yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, he came in the Bills. Was it the Bills game that he came in?
Yes, I think is the Bills game.
Um, and then I think he started versus the Bears then, correct? That following or not? It
The
wasn't
next game he didn't do very well. Or it was the Dallas Cowboys game. I think he got manhandled. No, that's what happened. Wasn't it the Dallas Cowboys game that that he had to come in because
yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
he had to
fair
come in the
fair
Dallas Cowboys game and got manhandled. But I think he came in on another game too before that. I forget what it was, but he played quite a bit.
fair that was Micah Parsons that he had to go against.
Yeah.
But I mean, just kind of like the Udo thing when he got in there, besides the Cowboys game, like with that Bills game, when he stepped in, another solid guy, another, maybe some good depth piece, backup type.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a crazy pro. What was his injury, Dave? What happened?
I want to say it was a broken ankle.
Oh,
I
geez.
I could look that up. Blake Brandel.
Okay.
Blake
Yeah,
Brandel.
I mean, it depends on how crazy that injury is or the recovery time if he's, gonna be the same, but, I guess
Yes.
that kind of makes you think about, O'Neal too and that Achilles.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. MCL. Someone broke an ankle. I forget who. Oh, that was Brian O'Neill. No, he got the
Well,
Achilles.
you're talking about
Um,
maybe seeing in his,
he broke his leg.
yeah, his
Someone broke
shin.
an ankle. I forget who it was. I might be thinking about, but yeah, this is an MCL. Tearing his MCL, so he's got a long recovery. So he may get a start the season on the DL. Vidarian Low might get a look. You get 4 games, I think, and then you get 21 days to reactivate him.
Yeah,
So we'll see there. Here's a guy I really like. I was pretty high when we got him off of somebody's team. I think off their practice squad. I forget. I think he was I don't know. I think it was the Bears. But Curry's Tonga. I really liked him. What did you think of him?
yeah, no, I loved him too. He was putting some pressure on that inside for sure. I think definitely someone to add back. You know, we got to do something about that. That interior. I'm sure we'll get to Dalvin Tomlinson and stuff like that. But I think he could pair well with him. he had a great year.
Yeah, I think the Kofi here. I think the only reason we're worried about him is his injury and how when he'll come back. But yeah, if he's fully healthy, I would want him back too.
Yep, for depth for sure.
And here's me not knowing how to manipulate this thing here. Let me find the next guy here.
But
Let's
Tonga,
see.
yeah, he had a great year. I hope he keeps
There we
making
go.
strides.
Alexander Mattison.
Yeah.
He's probably he's probably going to. It says here. This is kind of odd. This free agency tracker. They list him at value of $867,000. I don't think that's even close.
Really?
I think he signed somewhere for 4 or 5 million.
Yeah, no, he'll get paid more than that. What's your thoughts, Dave, as far as, maybe if we move Cook, um, or something to re-sign Mattison? I
So
mean,
that has been a scenario. Actually, one of my guests on actually knows his dad, and he's really a big advocate of like moving on from Cook and let Mattison be a starter. But
I would be totally okay with that.
so my issue is that I really love what's his name? Sorry, Ty Chandler,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, Ty Chandler.
Yep.
So I'm really big on him, and I'm thinking that he could just step in and be more better at the offense with being a more of a pass catcher like he was in college, but he still ran for over 1,000 yards for Carolina. So my thought is that I'm leaning towards that we are going to move on somehow from Dalvin Cook.
Yep.
I have an outside dark horse theory that, hey, we buy out and say, hey, we'll guarantee you this much money this year for a one-shot deal. I don't know how you'll go for it. And then the third would be, hey, the most likely is we try to trade him, get any value we can. And I don't feel like we want to cut him. We'll try to get some value from him somehow. And
Yeah.
whatever it is, whatever pick, sixth, fifth, I don't know. We'll try to get a fifth, but I doubt it. Pick for him and then move on. And then that would be the only shot for Mattison. It means we would have to do it pretty earlier in free agency and say, hey, Mattison, your guy. Or we sign Mattison and the writing on the wall is for Dalvin Cook. But my gut feeling is they're both gone. And we got two running backs who actually showed like they could play a little bit. And then we get a third out there somewhere. Because I don't think we go into the season with only two running backs.
Yeah.
So that's my thought on it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm a big Mattison fan. But especially I think definitely we're gonna need to move Cook. Whether, I don't know what other teams are willing to pay for a 28-year-old running back with that big of a cap hit, but definitely something to think about. I mean, I like Mattison. I think wherever he goes, he'll do well. But you're right. We got Chandler. I think Nwangu should deserve some more snaps.
Yeah, I like the fact you're thinking on Mattison because I wouldn't mind him coming in there because I think he's a really good short yardage guy, and he can break it too. I mean, no doubt about that, and he catches the ball
He's just
well.
a harder runner.
Tough player. He's a harder runner. Yeah, you're right, and I think that would be a good mix with the other two guys we have. And I don't think he was used enough in short yardage situations this past year, and I think he got 0 carries against the Packers. Yeah, I think he got like 0 carries against the Packers.
Yeah, and I don't understand that. I don't.
Yeah. Then we need a long snapper, and this guy, how old are you, man? He's pretty old. He's 35 years old.
35.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think we sign him for one more year. What do you think?
I think so. I mean, he's an all-pro, right?
Yeah, why not?
First team
Is he gonna get
all-pro.
a pay raise? What's his value here? It says
The best
they
at the
put him
position. Why not sign him back?
right. One more year. 950,000 it says here. I don't know. He probably gets close to that.
I'm not sure what the long snapper market is.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of,
today,
well, that's
but,
the problem we've always had. We haven't been sticking with the same three guys.
yeah.
And hopefully we can have 2 years in a row with the same long snapper, same holder, same kicker. So I probably need to move this along. Schlotman, Oscar Schlotman got hurt. I don't. Do you know his injury? Let me find his injury.
What did he do?
But yeah, tell me what you think about him when I find out what his injury is.
Yeah, so Schlotman, he played. Let's see. I mean, filling in for because he filled in for Bradbury.
Yep.
A couple games there. I mean, I mean, for
This is a
depth,
backer game. He got hurt in the
yeah, I
first.
think all these, backup O-line guys, kind of similar things. I mean, for depth, he didn't look too great when he was playing though. If I'm not mistaken, I think.
So I had higher hopes for him, and I think he was getting a little manhandled. And I thought there was a lot of confusion on the line with him, and his
Yeah.
injury is he suffered a fractured fibula. Not career-ending, and not a long recovery unless it's like a Lewis Scenes type of
Yeah.
where it breaks the skin. But I think you know this might be one of those situations we find a better guy or draft a better guy. We might
Yeah.
no one's gonna pick him up until he's 100%.
Yeah, he might
So
want.
he'll be
He might
around.
be one just to leave, and we draft, some backup.
Yeah, we might have a guy, might get a guy. I don't know. Maybe they think Chris Reed is a backup center now. I don't know.
Yeah.
This guy, Jonathan Bullard, he was a monster in college, and I had really high hopes for him. He played solid, but for me, he's a depth play, and I think keep him if he's cheap. That's my only thought there.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't want him as a starter, but I wouldn't mind him. What's that?
Where did he play college again?
Florida.
Florida.
You'll go watch a video of Jonathan Bullard in college. He was a monster. He was pretty good. And he bounced around, and now we got him, and I liked him. And
Well, I mean, I think he played.
Solid.
He had a decent year, though. I mean,
I think he played pretty solid. I just don't know if he's a 3-4. We're not getting pressure, or if we're going to stick with a 3-4, we're not getting pressure on the quarterback from our 3-up guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, we may need to move on. And Blaylock was terrible, I thought. Some guy once told me he liked him, but we tried to get him. He was a second-round draft pick out of B1. I forget, not Baylor, I think. I forget where it was. I think the same school Jalen Naylor came from. And Jonathan, and then he didn't do anything. So Jonathan Bullard kept that job. And we got rid of a guy to get Blaylock, and then Jonathan Bullard wins the job. So it's like, what do we do? And so we need to make. I think this is a job. This is a position we go after in the draft. Plus, we drafted the guy out of Minnesota last year. His name escapes me.
Ezzy, right? Ezzy Atomo.
Yeah, Atomo. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. That's why I got you on here. You had a young memory. I don't. So Irv Smith Jr. I'll let you say it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I was, Dave. I was a big fan of Irv. I was hoping for him to do well. Injuries came. Hoping he bounced back. He didn't really show nothing.
I agree, Raymond. We should have used. I think you're saying Mattison, but yeah, I didn't call Matty. You call him Matty. You're closer to him than I am. You probably know him better than me. No, I'm kidding. But Raymond won my 44 jersey autographed by Chuck Foreman.
Oh, heck.
So
Raymond is right.
Raymond. Yeah, we should have used more. We both agree with you, man. And then I go back to this. So
but yeah, Irv. I'm not. I was excited about him. Like I said, coming out of college. But I think with the Hockenson trade, obviously he was injured during that time, but we might be finding a solid backup. I don't know. I think
someone might pay Irv Smith like $3-4 million to come play for him, and we're not going to do it. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, it'll be one of them. I mean, I just really don't think we need him, or we have a use for him.
We're not going to be in a hurry to re-sign him.
It won't be a priority, I don't think.
Chandon Sullivan.
Yeah.
We're not doing good with nickel corners, I don't think.
No. I think he started the year okay. Like those first couple games, he might have been doing all right. But then the whole defense fell apart. But I don't think he's. I don't know if I don't think we sign him. What do you think?
I think if we'll jump at the chance, draft or find a better player. I
Yeah,
don't think he even has a shot if we re-sign. And we'll talk about him in a little bit. Pat P.
yeah,
Of making the team if we end. We it's a little doubts out there because of Booth that got hurt, Lewis Seen got hurt in the secondary,
yeah,
even though he's a safety. She's Dancer got hurt. We got Evans with concussions. I don't know what's Dancer has personal issues too that we're worried about.
yeah,
I don't know, man. Cornerbacks is like cursed. I don't know. It's like we can't. I don't know what's gonna happen. I
yeah,
don't know what's gonna happen there, but we can do better, and hopefully they do. And if we do cut a lot of veterans and we have money, that is a position along with defensive line that I think we attack with the money. So
yeah. I
this
agree.
guy, I'm finally happy that we got a decent backup quarterback, and
Yeah,
they're looking at 2 million in value, and I think that's probably the going rate for a top backup quarterback. What do you think on this guy?
yeah. I mean, when that last game, the Bears, he played great. I think he's a good backup. I don't know where we're gonna find anyone else more solid. So I say we keep him around for sure.
Yeah, I'm high on that train. I was like, God, I was wanting us to like draft a quarterback and not bring our backup back last year, and just anywhere in the draft, and have to like
Yeah.
Kellerman and whoever compete for that backup job. Um, it kind of worked out that we ended up getting Nick Mullins.
Yep.
Um, just you know, who knows? Those quarterbacks kept falling in the draft, and I'm like, yeah, get one of them, get one of them, and then, but it pleasantly surprised. We end up getting a Nick Mullins, and this is a guy has orchestrated like some serious blowouts as a backup quarterback, and I think he's one of those guys that gives us a puncher's chance
Yep.
if knock on wood, Kirk Cousins ever misses a game. Um, this guy. Greg Joseph. They got him at 2 million here.
Mhm.
He did finally kicked a 61-yarder and broke the Vikings record, and that went and won a few games for us.
Yep. He did.
Missed like 6 or 7 extra points this year. I think at least. I think 6 at least.
Yeah.
But what do you think about keeping the three guys together? We're gonna keep our punter, right? He's a
Oh yeah.
that's a no
That
question.
kid he
And then
sounds like a 10-year deal. Good old Ryan.
yeah, sign that son of a. But he's a little hefty though. I was worried, honestly, I was like worried. Well,
Gives
this
him the
guy's gonna
juice.
bend down. He's gonna bend down. He's gotta hold the snap. And I'm like, come
Yeah.
on, cut some weight for this.
Yeah.
But
He's gonna get winded out there standing there so long in one place.
I don't know. And then so keeping those guys together for one more year to see how it goes. Yeah, Greg Joseph's fine indoors, I think, except when they had those doors open. He showed that I forget what game it was. It was at home, and he missed right and he missed left, and they had I don't know. But I think we keep him back. I don't think we want to roulette with kickers anymore.
Yeah,
He
that
has
that's
shown,
yeah, that's I mean, if we want to keep him, I don't know what other options are out there. Um,
college. I don't know. I would have to look. I'll start getting into my draft prep after we sign a D coordinator.
yeah,
But this guy, we started the season wanting to get rid of him, and a lot of Viking fans were like sad that he got hurt
yep,
because that's when our offensive line started going to crap again
yeah,
for a little bit. And Garrett Bradbury is, they're saying in this, and I don't agree with it, that he's $3 million value. I've heard people talk about getting him 10 to 11 million.
yeah,
He has gone, 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 gone. What do you think?
yeah. With his injuries and those back issues, um, he had an awesome year. I don't think, if we really want to clear up some space, I don't know if we re-sign him. It might be a little scary if we would, with those
Yeah.
with the back issues being a lineman. I don't know how that's going to fare, throughout a whole season. But he
He
was
didn't
great.
And he
before.
wasn't very good in the last game of the season. Of course, he's coming off an injury and he's been salty, but apparently there's video out there because the guy that was facing him all game was mic'd up and he was
Yeah.
terrorizing Bradbury. And
Oh,
yeah,
Dexter. Was it Dexter Lawrence?
I think so. I have to go. I'm afraid to listen to it. I'm gonna feel bad for him.
I
He
haven't
goes, "This
listened.
is what you signed up for, man." And he's
Oh,
this man. Yeah, he got manhandled quite a bit in that game. I don't blame him. Coming off an injury and you playing one game, and he was pretty solid most of the season. This
yeah.
guy, however, found the fountain of youth for 1 year. He was signed
Yeah.
$10 million with us, and then he has a terrible year, mediocre at best. And then he was one spot away from probably making the Pro Bowl, and PFF ranked him sixth best corner in the league. Patrick Peterson, do you think we should bring him back?
I think we should.
He'll be 33.
Yeah. Do I think he can do what he did this year? No. With what he did this year was very impressive. He kind of came back into that top 10 corner type thing, like you said, like a fountain of youth. But I mean, if we can try to target the draft, like a young, fast, tall guy, along with Peterson, maybe for another year, maybe we can try to make something, of that secondary. But I think as he kind of reminds me just of, solid, some type of stone out there to keep in place that you got someone to go to make a play or keep things locked up in his area.
Yeah, Kofi here. Irv stays only at the league minimum. I'd probably take him for the league minimum. I don't know. Maybe he figures that out. I don't think that's the case though. Sullivan got to go. Agreed. I think we both agreed on that. He did not start this year. Okay, dude left receivers wide open every game.
Mm,
And one of the things, there's some note to that because Peterson wasn't targeted a lot. Compared, and he played 100% of the snaps. I believe all season, if not, unless he got sat down in that Bears game, I can't remember. But yeah, he was crazy. He was playing every snap. I don't think he was tested enough, and he got caught on some double moves. And the first game of the year when Watson, I think it was Watson, right, dropped that ball that would
yeah.
have been a sure touchdown. That was on him. That was on
Yeah.
Peterson.
Yeah.
Then Covey, I really want Bradbury back, but the pay might be too high. It's almost like one of those things where you just want that headache to go away, and it's been a headache. And sure, I got some relief, but I don't want that headache back.
Yeah.
And what a better chance than that's where I kind of feel on that situation. I don't know, man.
But I mean, the Peterson thing is that if you want to be competitive next year, without fully blowing up that defense, I don't know if it'd be a bad idea to bring him back.
Dalvin Tomlinson. They got him as their biggest 10,500. Patrick Peterson 4 million. Which if he does that again, I'd say go for it.
Yeah.
But he's probably expecting a raise after the way he played. But Dalvin Tomlin 10,000 or 10,500,000 as his market value. In the 3-4 defense as a defensive end. Big chunky dude playing defensive end. Didn't really get at the quarterback, but he was so solid. And I think he was our best D lineman all year. He did get hurt and missed a few games, but 10 million. What would you take him back for? What would you bring him back for?
All I know, I think he's someone to bring back. He's one of the. I mean, we need that interior. We got, depending on what happens, but with Za'Darius and Daniil on the outside, someone to pair up with Dalvin would be great. But at 10 million, that is high. Maybe in that like 7 to 8 range would be okay.
A little bit of a discount, I think. Yeah, I'd probably take him for that. I might take him at 10 million. Depends on what we got.
I would. He was too good.
I like him better in a 4-3. I don't know. I just the 3-4 at the end. There's so much. So that was the last guy right there. That was the last guy, and we went through him. But what do you think? We're going with a 3-4 again. I think it's that's where we're leaning. I think we've talked to some or considering guys that weren't necessarily 3-4 guys their entire career, but the thought of Danielle Hunter standing up, 50% of the game and having to and Zadarius Smith, I saw Zadarius Smith cover Amon St. Brown in the slot from the Lions, and it wasn't pretty. So I always worry about that. So my thought was, hey, we could fix this defensive line right now, putting Danielle Hunter back at DN, putting Tomlinson and Harrison Phillips at D tackle, and have a combo of Wanham and Jones on the other DN, and I think we fix it. Yeah. But we're at 3-4, and Danielle Hunter, he has a huge trade value. If we trade him as a 4-3 defensive end to somebody, that's where his most value is. When we got him at outside linebacker, I think his value is only that good when he has his hand on the ground rushing the quarterback. When he's called upon to do that. How do you feel about this? Keep coming another year of Danielle Hunter playing in the wrong spot or standing up.
It cannot happen. He cannot be when he's at his best. He still had about 10.5 sacks doing that.
Yeah, he picked it up in the year because I think we put him put his hand in the ground more.
Yeah, he had a solid second half, but no, he's got to be attacking. I think almost all the time. That's where he makes all his money. I don't want him covering any slot.
I tell people you can't run fast running backwards.
Yeah,
you can't run fast running backwards.
And that's all he would be doing, But no, with the trade value, it's intriguing to see what maybe we could get. But I say we bring him back and Dalvin to DT. Can kind of maybe look in the draft for that other type of rusher with Wanham and Phillips, who had a solid year. I think a lot of the issues would be fixed if we just keep attacking with those guys and not dropping them back and just being more aggressive for sure.
All right, man. Any thoughts on this offseason?
I'm excited for it. I think there's going to be quite a bit of changes. Some names that have been sticking around for a while that they might not be back next year. Who knows?
How big a draft guy are you? I'm sitting in front, and this is funny. I'm sitting in front of a TV I bought from your grandfather, 19-inch Zenith television with the snow. Yeah, 19-inch Zenith with the knobs that I got from your dad's Zenith shop. Whatever is what is Jim's TV? Jim's TV
and appliance.
Jim's TV and appliance, and that's me in my college dorm watching the draft, and I'm like, ever since then I've been in love with it since like 1991, and I like spring training and I like the draft.
Yep.
My two favorite things. You just can't keep me away from a TV or from my cell phone during that time. How do you feel about that? Is that something you look forward to every year?
Yeah, now, yes, I wasn't too big. The past probably like 2 to 3 years, I've been way more into the draft. I don't go too full nerd on it and, write up my own and with trades and everything. But I try to stay up to date on who's the top guys. And I watch, probably a handful of mock draft videos leading up to it. And I get excited about certain guys. I don't go too crazy about it, but I'm watching it for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely nowhere else what's going on.
Well, hey, I'm gonna have you back as often as I can get you. It'll be
fun. I love being on
here. Bring you on some panels. Maybe hell if I'm probably have a draft special where I'm sitting here or streaming. I'll be streaming the games most likely next year.
Yeah, let's do
it. I'll be asking people to jump on whatever. Maybe I can get your uncles on here. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I doubt it. Craig would not come on here. Yeah, he's a wet blanket. He's a wet blanket. So your dad though your dad would be fun.
He'd come talk to you. Yep.
All right. Hey, it was great.
Even Grandma Z might come on here.
Oh yeah. You know what? I gotta get her on. I should get my mom on. I'd be like, we had
get them both on.
That would be funny. That'd be funny. But hey, thanks for coming on, man. This was Skull World Live, and this was Carter Libis, the prodigy. See you next time, Skull Vikes.